Hi and welcome to session 3 of the Dads Matter course. Today we will reflect on how our feelings may be the key to understanding children's challenging behaviour. Also at the end of this session we will be able to identify key feelings and link them to the behaviour model. We can help to meet our children's needs in a variety of ways. Physically, such as food, water, sleep, warmth, security and safety. Emotionally, to feel loved, to feel a sense of belonging and to feel needed. Socially, that's to do with recognition, acceptance and respect. Intellectually, so with competence, confidence, courage and understanding, being able to figure things out. Please take a few moments to answer these following questions and to feel free to pause the video to give yourself plenty of time. How do children get their needs met? What does your child do to get a response? How does this make you feel? What are some of your needs? And how do you get your needs met? Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a theory by Abraham Maslow who put forward that people are motivated by 5 basic categories of needs: physiological, safety, love, esteem, and self-actualization. Needs lower down in the hierarchy must be met before we can focus on needs higher up. This hierarchy describes the key needs we all have in our lives. And when these needs are not met, it affects our behaviour, feelings about ourselves, and outlook on the world. We can all do something to better meet these needs in our lives and become more equipped to thrive in the various areas of our lives. As the needs are met at each level, children grow in self-awareness and confidence and look less to dads to fulfill their needs as they begin to meet their needs themselves. Also, the needs on higher levels are harder to fulfill if the needs on the lower levels have not been met. It's hard to think deep and meaningful if you are hungry or feel unsafe, or connect socially with others in a healthy way if you don't feel loved or have a sense of belonging at home. Alfred Adler recognized that every action of a child has a purpose and that the child's basic aim is to have significance, to feel they belong and a place in the social group. If a child's needs aren't met positively, they will use challenging behavior as a negative means of meeting them. Here are some examples of some of the challenging behaviours we may have with our children. But it's important to see the need and the feelings behind those behaviours and not just think about how it's making us feel. So we have attention seeking, and the need behind this is our children want to be noticed. We may feel irritated and annoyed, but really we can do something to meet this need by giving time to our children. Another challenge of behaviour is power struggles. We can feel angry or frustrated, but we can understand if we look closer that what is really going on here is our children want to have a say, some control over the situation. And there's a way we can help them with that to reduce this behaviour. Another challenging behaviour is revenge. We can feel hurt and upset ourselves, but the reason the children look for revenge will be because they're hurting and they feel a need to hurt back. Again, we can do something to help support them through this. And another challenging behaviour is when our children want to give up. We can feel like giving up ourselves, but again, if we take the time to look, we see that our children may need help to sort things out. That's why they're struggling. So it's as we identify the need behind the behaviour, we can then first of all address that need positively, meet that need, and that in itself will help to influence and change in a positive way the behaviours that we're seeing. Assertive responses to each of these challenging behaviours in children are as follows. For attention seeking, we can look to focus on the positive, give attention for positive, and not to feed the negative. For power struggles, we can allow choice where possible, try not to lock horns, and identify appropriate consequences. For revenge, we can identify and address the hurt, identify appropriate consequences, and have a controlled, consistent response. And if they feel like giving up, then don't do it for them, but give instruction and help, positive encouragement. Please complete this activity to help you reflect on what are the unmet needs and feelings might be behind a particular challenging behaviour and situation. What behaviour do you find difficult? What does your child do? Why does it upset you? What's your child's goal behind this behaviour? What's the need? How are you going to deal with this behaviour? In this session, we have explored Maslow's hierarchy of need and how we all have needs that need to be met. We have looked at Adler's child needs model and how the results of unmet needs lead to challenging behaviour in our children. We have seen that as dads, we are essential in helping to meet the needs of our children on each level. The question we can ask ourselves is, what do we need to do to better provide for our children? By giving time and bringing focus to this, we will become more effective as being a provider to our children, meeting their needs and helping them thrive in life. Thanks for joining me again today. Next time we will be learning about our fatherhood role as a teacher and how we can give relevant guidance and correction to help our children grow and develop. I look forward to seeing you then. I'm joined by Carl again, a participant from a Dads Matter course, sharing some thoughts with me about what it means to him to be a provider for his son. So session 3, we talked about dad being a provider. And of course this is to do with meeting our children's needs, whether that's physical, practical, emotional, social, intellectual, etc. Really doing what we can to help them to thrive in life. And when those needs aren't met in our children, it can lead to challenging behaviours. We often look at those challenging behaviours and we think that's the real issue, when actually there's more going on under the surface. Like an iceberg, for example, you see all that ice above the water, which seems a lot, but there's so much more ice under the water, and there's so much more going on with our children. So it's taking the time to listen, that active listening, finding out what's wrong, how can we help to meet those needs? And if we do, we will see a positive change in behaviour. And I just wondered, what were your thoughts on the topic of being a provider?
That's one of the difficult ones that I had very much of a problem to relate to, because having the situation I had at home when I was little, none of that was around. It was, if I had a problem, there was no one to help me. I had to deal with it myself and bear it.
Yeah.
With my son, when it came to him having a problem, he was very much the same. So it was then trying to coax out of him what the problem was. Over, it wouldn't be a few minutes, it could be a few days to find out what the cause was, why he wasn't behaving as well as he should, why was he not doing what we expected of him. And having been shown the different ways of, first of all, looking at him, interacting with him, guiding him, when it came to this particular problem, I had to sit down sometimes and say, okay, what is wrong? Is there anything I can do to help? Whereas before, I would give up. I would just, carry on. But You can't, because sometimes when you've got a small child and they're at school and someone's bullied them, they're afraid to tell you because that child that's bullied them says, if you say anything, I'm going to get you even more. And for a small child, that is quite worrying. And on the flip side, when they're at home and they don't get the attention that they need, they act up. And you think, well, hang on a minute, well, why is he doing this? He wasn't doing this yesterday, we were doing this yesterday. Oh, hang on a minute, yes. I'm not giving him enough of my time to him. He wants me to interact with him, which is something I didn't do before. He was very much left on his own, as I was. Growing up with two brothers, we were just left to our own devices, and yes, we found it difficult to interact with other children, and I've struggled with that my entire life. I don't want him to be in a situation whereby he cannot interact with other children because he doesn't know how to, because I haven't shown him.
Well done for breaking the cycle. You know, what was your experience you're now seeking to do differently with your son, to interact, to spend time? You know, the best thing we can spend on our children, give to our children, is our time. What we really provide for them isn't just things, we provide ourselves, and to be present, not just there physically, but emotionally, mentally, to fully engage. But what I've discovered, and I'm sure you agree, that we have to look after ourselves, because if our needs are being met, we're going to be better equipped to care for our children and meet their needs. And I think often when parents aren't getting their needs met, they struggle to engage positively with their children. They may find themselves becoming aggressive or passive rather than that assertive parenting style. So we need to look after ourselves, make sure those needs are being met, and then we're in a great place to give our children our very best.
Well, the thing being is, it may only take 10 minutes or an hour to recharge ourselves, but a child may need 3 or 4 hours of that interaction, which if they don't get, they do suffer, which is what I've found.
And this is why it's so important to be intentional, isn't it? Because time just goes, they grow up so quick. Just to be intentional in engaging, listening, spending quality time, having fun together, just enjoying that father-child relationship.
It doesn't take much to get off your bum and spend a few minutes on the floor to get a smile.
Absolutely. So well done for what you're doing, and the growing relationship you and your son are sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.